Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Movement6 and welcome to a new video. And as a growing habit, I want to say a huge thank you for all the new subs. Welcome to the community, welcome to this channel. If you haven't subbed yet, do so and put on a notification and you will not miss a thing. Now this week, in the last 5 to 6 days, has been a great week for gaming. There's been a lot of news going on. I'm not going to do a video on Modern Warfare. I've done a few. The release has been this week. I'm not hyped. I refuse to be hyped. I've been, disappointed a bit too much, I would say. And what I've seen now is what we've seen every year. Great fit, great stuff, great things. Yes, the graphics are better and it looks awesome, but I need to get my hands on the open beta before I will join the hype train and before I'm going to give any comments on that. Now, the other news that emerges was Sony has sold 100 million PS4s. Wow. PlayStation 2 record is almost around the corner and it's likely that they're going to hit that. But does a huge amount of consoles also mean that they have won the war, I would say? If we're looking at the Nintendo Wii, that has sold a staggering amount of consoles during its lifetime, one should say that yes, they have won a war, but it seems that the Nintendo Wii, to me, is one of the worst consoles ever produced. To me, it's a virus. The reason for that is you came in someone's home, you had a Wii, you played a bullshit bowling game. In the car, you said to your wife or to your friends or your girlfriend or whatever, you said, wow, that's a great console, let's get one. You get that one, you play it for a few times, and eventually you find out that it's a complete bullshit console and it's more a dust collector. Now, if we're looking at the Sony versus Xbox rivalry first, you will need to go back to the previous generation where we were still having the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox, and the Xbox 360 was launched well before the PlayStation 3 emerges, and the Xbox 360 at the time was the first high-definition console. I've got one, it's still in the back somewhere there, and I'm playing a lot with it still. I like the console still, there are still great games out there. But eventually they lost to PlayStation. PlayStation 3 had a rough time at the beginning to pick up in terms of units sold, but eventually the exclusive titles they showed in terms of Uncharted and Last of Us really showed the direction they were going in, right? And that's where already Microsoft was dropping the ball. Yes, they had Gears of War, which was phenomenal games. Yes, they had Halo, but eventually PlayStation brought more new things and just gave a glance in the kitchen that was better than Xbox eventually. Fast forwarding to the release of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and the announcements, you already saw where Microsoft has made the biggest mistakes, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a console and you can watch TV with it. What? The whole presentation and the release, the way they presented the new console, the Xbox One that was coming up, they were really focusing on things that where gamers were confused. What is it? Are you selling a console for gaming, or what the hell are you going to sell to us? PlayStation, for that matter, Sony, really focused on the gamers. It was for the gamers. Eventually, for the players it was, right? And eventually it became for the waiters, because it turned out that it took a bit of time before the real first IPs came out. Eventually, we got Uncharted, we've got a Spider-Man, we've got a new IP, Horizon Zero Dawn, and we've got Last of Us still around the corner that needs to come out, right? So eventually, these 100 million is well deserved, because I've made a video not so long ago on the comparison of Xbox Scarlet and PlayStation 5, right? And this whole debate on the technical powerhouses they are and whether the one is bigger than the other or better than the other or faster than the other. I don't give a rat's ass for that matter, because eventually it's software that's eating the world. We need software. The unique selling point is software from a console. If we still having a debate on horsepower nowadays, then we're not getting the message here, because we can't expect anything less that the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet is going to be a quantum leap forward in what we've got now in our hands, in our home. And eventually we need software, right? And if we're looking at in how PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One have done it, Microsoft has dropped the ball on all sides, and I'm not a console fanboy. I'm a game fanboy, right? I've got an Xbox One, I've got a PlayStation 4, and I also own a Switch right now. And I must say that my PlayStation 4 gets more playtime than my Xbox One. And if there's a game out there that is cross-platform, so PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, I will buy it on my Xbox One if it's not multiplayer related. Um, just to justify that I've got that Xbox One. But also, if we're looking at the software piece, then PlayStation 4 has done a better job in terms of user interface than the Xbox One. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I don't have a lot of hair on my head, but that hair that is there is turning gray sometimes when operating a user interface of the Xbox One. The PlayStation 4 is way easier. It's user friendly, and these guys really got it. And the PlayStation 3 was already good, and they even modified it. They took the PlayStation 3 user interface, the operation software, and they modified it and even enhanced it. Right, so. To me, this generation console, if you're looking at from an Xbox perspective and from a PlayStation perspective, PlayStation 1, full stop. I'm not taking into account the VR or the PlayStation Vita, because VR, I think it's phenomenal, but not really for me, but I think it's great. It's a very low-priced entry in a great experience you got with virtual reality. They did drop the ball on the handheld because it was not really greatly supported from their end, but the PlayStation 4 won, and it's not because of the 100 million units sold, it's because of the software, and that made them selling a lot of systems, right? So the fact that somebody is selling a lot of systems doesn't really necessarily mean anything in terms of the Wii, but if you're looking at the PlayStation 4 now selling 100 million, and we're going to shatter the 102 as well, that's still the record for the PlayStation 2. This is going to be a very unique selling console in terms of record-breaking sales, right? So if you compare these two guys, Sony won this whole generation. If you're looking at Nintendo for this matter, because in the thumbnail I also added the Switch, it's hard to take them into account here. The reason is that Nintendo always does things their own way, and sometimes it goes horribly wrong. We saw with the last previous two consoles. The Wii U is maybe a bit better than the Wii, but eventually they found their mojo back, and that is with the Switch. It is a phenomenal console. It is. The hardware piece is so innovative. You just take it out and you can keep on playing. When you've played in a handheld mode, you just click it in. It's really good. The build quality is fantastic. And no, they're not. Nintendo never concerned themselves about horsepower per se, right? They're not looking at Xbox and PlayStation 4. We need to do that because they're doing that. We need to do stuff on our own, making sure that our whole ecosystem is a unique selling point. And the hardware is a unique selling point already. And if you're not taking into the games they've got with Zelda Legend of the Wild, or Breath of the Wild, excuse me for that. You've got that old Zelda being remade, reimagined. You've got Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. You've got the Mario games. You've got Mario Kart. And you've got, and maybe I'm just calling out some usual suspects here, but if you're looking at the whole library, it's fantastic. Don't play a Mortal Kombat on any of those games, right? Play them on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I'm not going to do a review of these games here, but there are tons of reasons why you should not play it on a Switch. A Switch needs to be played with Nintendo games that are designed for that system, because Nintendo needs to do things on their own. And it's great that third-party softwares are developing for that systems, but they need to develop it for that system, not for cross-platform, right? And that's also the reason I made this video, to show you guys that yes, we've got 3 consoles in this generation, but one, Nintendo is not really interested in a generation type of flow. 2, they will keep on supporting the Switch, no doubt, for the years to come, with games, with content. And I think it's going to take a few more years before they will announce a new console. So they don't give a rat's ass about what PlayStation is doing and what Xbox is doing. They do things on their own. Now, so who actually won the console war? from a console perspective, if you're looking at the hardcore gaming, you're talking about PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's PlayStation 4, full stop, full stop. And I do hope sincerely that PlayStation will keep on going with the IPs, that they will bring new IPs, and they also proven a few things. One, for the second generation, because the discussion was in PlayStation 3 and now also with PlayStation 4, for the second generation in a row, they gave the middle finger to all those guys and all those people who said consoles are dead, cloud gaming is the next. Consoles are dead, cloud gaming is the next. You will not sell 100 plus million consoles if the console market is dead, right? And yes, as you can see, digital download sales have now overtaken physical discs too. That will be a next step. And yes, the new PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet will take a huge step with cloud gaming, but there are some huge issues with cloud gaming. Not everybody has got solid internet to guarantee 60 frames per second in 4K in a streaming modus, right? It will come, inevitably it will come. And I think that Google is doing a fantastic job to play around with this infrastructure, with this technology. And yes, it's not perfect, but it's fantastic to see that a company is really pushing the market with new technology and also driving Microsoft and Sony to do things. So in the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, we will see these things are coming, right? In Xbox Scarlet. What I do hope for the next generation is that Xbox is going to pick up in terms of exclusives, in terms of new IPs like a Horizon Zero Dawn, like an Uncharted, like a Last of Us. Don't rely again on Halo and Gears. Fantastic, phenomenal games, but that's going to be the third generation, or maybe for Halo, maybe the fourth generation that we're going to see this, right? So stop doing that in terms of relying on it, right? Bring a Gear 6, a Gear 7, and Gears 8. I don't give a rat's ass again. But Halo, continue it and make emerging fantastic games from it. But bring out new IPs as well. The market really wants you to succeed. And from my perspective, a healthy rivalry between Sony and Microsoft is benefiting the systems, but especially us as consumer, right? We will get better games. And the second thing that Sony has proven with this generation is that people need to shut the F up about, and especially EA, about single player games being dead. They're not at all. People want to be drawn into a story driven mode, huge environment, a fantastic story mode where they can discover, learn, grow, like Horizon Zero Dawn, right? I've got about 180 plus hours in this game and I'm still not done with it. The same goes, and that's cross-platform. We see an Arkham Knight, right, or a Batman game from Rocksteady. We've seen the BioShock games as well from the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. So single-player games are here to stay, full stop. Everybody who thinks otherwise, you're not getting the message what has been laid down here in the PlayStation 4 era. So these two guys, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox lost. Having the most powerful console out there doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit, right? Yes, Xbox One X is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 Pro. It is. From a technical standpoint, it is. It doesn't mean... It doesn't matter now for this discussion on what exactly that means from a technical standpoint. It is a fact. Xbox One X is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 Pro. Fine. Consumers don't give a shit. They don't see that difference on a TV when they're looking at it. They want good games. They want to be drawn into games. They want unique selling points. They want to have a reason to buy a system. There is, in essence, not a huge reason to buy an Xbox One. There isn't. PlayStation 4, yes, you've got all those fantastic games. You want to buy Spider-Man, you need to buy a PlayStation 4. You want to play the best adventure game, Uncharted. Last of Us, boom. Here we go. And Horizon Zero Dawn, Guerrilla, it's one of the better developing studios right now, especially with that game. Death Stranding, for that matter, right? It also still come. I completely forgot about Death Stranding. So here we go, guys. There is no huge compelling event. Yeah, Gears of War, yes, Halo, but that's about it. And we know these games by now, right? So for the next generation, please. But if you look at Nintendo, I would give them to be the best runner-up in a different, maybe also number one in a different category. These guys, Nintendo, you have really made the best console of this era in terms of innovation, in terms of taking things to a whole new level, to a whole new platform. It works fantastically. It's the build quality is fantastic. How it operates, the games are fantastic. Keep on doing what you guys are doing, and don't say goodbye to the Switch so lightly, because you guys showed to market that it's not all about graphics, it's not all about horsepower, it's not all about 4K. It's about games, it's about software, it's about experience, right? So to me, PlayStation and Nintendo Switch has won this war or competition that is out there right now. Sony by nature for the hardcore gaming industry, and Nintendo for the market they're serving, but also getting people on board that are maybe used to play with Sony or with Xbox. If you don't own a Switch, you need to buy one. You need to buy one, full stop. There is no reason not to buy one. If you're missing out on the Switch, you're missing out on a fantastic experience. So guys, I'm always really curious on what your take is on this generation, on every video, but especially on this topic. Do you have a PS4? Do you have an Xbox? Do you own both? Do you have a Switch? And what is your take on how you've experienced these consoles, right? Especially you guys who own an Xbox only. What is your take on this generation? Are you happy or are you not? And just from an objective, don't say, oh, PlayStation 4 because I like Xbox, I'm an Xbox fanboy, so PlayStation, you're bullshit. No, let's be honest, guys. They've got great games from Sony on the PlayStation 4. What's your take on Xbox? And if you own both, what's your take, right? What do you use most? The Xbox, the PlayStation, and why? So please let me know, guys. I'm really interested in that. Now, for the days to come, I will work on that personal update. I've got a very personal message for you guys, why I started the channel, why I'm doing this, what is going to be happen moving forward, but I also got some tips and tricks for new YouTubers out there or people who are doubting if you want to start a channel. I'm still a very small, tiny channel out there, but I enjoyed it, and I've made all the beginner's mistakes in my first videos and how I encountered this, and I'm happy to share this with you guys. I will make a fantastically edited video for it. I will come back to you with new Rainbow Six content. Of course, I will do something with Modern Warfare, but not right now. The internet is floating with all kinds of people who are having a opinion on it, and I'm not hyped right now, but it will come. So yes, guys, hang on to this channel. There's more techno coming your way, more gaming coming your way. If you haven't subbed yet, please subscribe. And for now, Movement 6 out, back to the madness.